What's going on, everybody? You've got the card board coach here with your boy, Coach Co. And team, today we got a very special guest on the podcast here today. We've got Jay, aka MOJO Sports. How you doing today, brother?
What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Good to be here, man. Feeling really pumped to be here, man. Let's go.
I'm happy to have you too. You and I have crossed paths countless occasions, and I'm excited to formally have you on the podcast and allow others to get to know maybe a different side of you, or perhaps something. You're pretty real in your content, but just giving you a different access or new access to a different audience. You just recently moved. You made the move from Sacramento to California, Los Angeles. I don't know why I said
Los
Sacramento.
Angeles, yeah.
Yeah, I was like
California,
they're
California.
both they're
From
both
it's
in
basically
California.
from north to south. That's what you gotta
Nice.
think.
There we
It'd be
go.
like going from Canada to like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
Texas or something.
I don't think
That's
it's
too
that far
far. That's
away.
way
Yeah,
too far. I'm sorry.
exactly.
That's too far.
Exactly. I was like, I think that's way too far. But talk to us a little bit about that move. What prompted you to move? You've been spending a lot of time at Burbank. Let's get into that. But first, like, what prompted you to make that move?
Yeah, I mean, I originally moved to LA in spring earlier, and I liked it. I loved it, but we launched a tour. So like I came to LA for 3 months, and then I was like, I'm going on tour. Like I want to go and travel through the Midwest and go to all these card shops. So I launched the tour. Then I got really burnt out after my tour, and I told my parents, I was like, yeah, I need to lay low, but and I laid low and then I started traveling again. And then, so like typically my business model, man, is like I was living out of a suitcase. Like I would tell my parents, like, I'm going to stay here like 2 weekends and I'm going to Tampa for like a week. I'm going to go to New York for a week. I'm going to go up to Oregon for a week. Like I just planned these trips out and I would get in Airbnbs and I would talk to card shops and just be like, yo, I want to come film. I want to feature you guys. And every shop was just pumped, or shows. They'd always be so pumped. But I knew in deep down, I was like, all right, after my tour, I'm gonna lay low and just travel. And I was like, I felt like I was growing so much when I moved to LA originally. And then I just felt like once I got to my parents, I was like, man, this just feels like a decline. Like everybody relates this. Like when you
Yeah,
move back with your parents, it honestly is like a personal like thing. It's like this is a
yeah,
personal thing here.
yeah,
It's just you're not as motivated. And like here, I'm hustling like a mofo. Because I gotta survive here,
yeah,
right? I gotta pay rent and this place isn't cheap. I have to pay my car payment. I have insurance. I have all these things that like, and I know everyone's like, oh my God, everyone has to do that. But it's like, yo, like I'm actually doing this full-time content, selling cards, whatnot. So basically to sum this up, when I went back to Sacramento, I felt like the brand was growing, but it was kind of like slow. With all the travel, it was like, oh my God, I spent $1,000 to stay in New York. It's like I could just like I want to try something new. So anyway, I had planned out to come back to LA. And in December, I was like, yeah, I'm moving back. I can't do this anymore. In December, let me say this, November and December was prime time for a lot of card people to, let's just say, like the hobby in November, December, it's notorious. It just
yes,
doesn't really
yes,
boom.
yeah,
It's kind of low key. So I think that gives all of us like an introspective thought, like to work out, to figure some like plan something else. And I can every time I always feel it in December. I always need to make something happen going into the new year. So I said F it. So I said January. I contacted some spots. I was like, all right, I'm gonna move in January 12th. And I didn't make it a big deal this time. I was like, this is a personal choice.
yeah.
It's for my own personal life, my health, my business, and everything else. So I came here and it's been amazing since I've came here. I've been the most motivated. I honestly haven't been this motivated since 2020, since I started this thing. So it's
Yeah.
been awesome, bro.
I love
I know
that.
that was a lot. I know that was
No,
a
no,
lot.
no, man. We're here for stories, bro. Like,
Yeah. Like it's just like people are tapped into the story, man. Like you
yeah,
have to understand, like it is like survival. I feel like I'm trying to survive right now. And it's a little, but it's almost like it's crazy. Like I took a risk on myself to like take this chance. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, I have a bunch of things to contribute to that actually. So, the one thing I will say about the decline in like November, December, I couldn't agree more. Last year around this time or around that time, so I've been tracking. Like, for me, I realized that I need to hold myself accountable in the form of like I'm very like visual, and I like to zoom out and have things to compare and contrast. And so what I do is I literally log like how many pieces of content I put like every day. And I've been
Oh
doing this for
wow.
like a year and a half. And in this way, it gives me perspective on like, even if you had a bad day, like you can still have like salvage it by having like two really good days and have like now all of a sudden you have a great week, or like you get have a shitty week and then have like a still a really good month if you find a way to like always there's an opportunity to kind of rein it back in. And
I
I
like that
found
a
that,
lot.
yeah, yeah. So I found that the last two Novembers, it's the same shit. Like it's exactly what you're talking about. It's like I have like the peak for me is the expo, and like I work with the people at expo like quite diligently in terms of like putting out content. But then like afterwards I am like spent, bro. Like I don't want to talk about cards. I don't want to like hear about cards like for like several days afterwards. And this year I was like, how do I stop myself from like that fall off a cliff? And there were some things that I put in place where, like I'm gonna take time for myself. I'm gonna like literally plan a trip right after the expo, like take off for like 5 days. And the bounce back was a little bit better, but still, if I compare it to like the year before, it's the lull still happens. And so, I think leaning into that lull and using that opportunity to really sit down and think about like, okay, what is it that I want? Like it's important to note that just because you go through one of those lulls doesn't mean you have to like blow things up either. You know what I mean? Like really keeping perspective is like the name of the game in instances like that. The second thing I wanted to contribute is that it's interesting. I go into every year with like it's like almost like a mission statement, right? So like I don't like resolutions because I feel like that's like it's inevitably going to end. And so I call it like a mission statement. It happens in like December usually. And it's like, how do I want this next year to look? What is it like when I need to lean on something, like a phrase? Like what is it going to be? And last year it was like I'm going to go all in on myself.
Mm.
And I distinctly remember it was March, and I was debating whether or not to go to the Vegas show, the Mint Collective. And I knew a lot of people were going to be there, and we had been locked down in Canada for quite some time, and it was one of the first shows that I had access to. And I was like, how am I going to make this work financially from like even from like a work perspective? Like there were just so many things up in the air. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm like leaning into this mission statement. And coming out of the Mint, like there were so many opportunities that happened as a result of that, so many connections that were made. And all it did was kind of reaffirm that like you just have to go all in like on yourself consistently. And so every time I was like iffy, I just kept doing that. So that is to say, for you having that moment where you're like, I need to be in that like fight or flight. Like I need to kind of like find a way to tap into that version of me where like I'm hustling and I've like forced myself into a situation where I have really no options. It's kind of like I dig it. I very much dig it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like it's uncomfortable, man. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. Like, some things come up where I'm like, what the heck? And I'm 29, and I know that like I don't know, this is the best growing period I think I could have is like on this journey right here, and you're right. Like I do want to hustle. I'm at the top of my game. I definitely feel like I'm at the top of my freaking game. Like whether it's going to Burbank every week or it's going to card shops or selling on whatnot. Like I'm just like, I mean, I mean, look, I haven't been this organized in a long time. Like I have a sell pile, we've got eBay inventory. Like it's just different, man. Like when I was at home, I'm telling you, it's momentum, bro. Momentum is key. Like you ride the momentum, like the tour into the national, and then it was like, oh, what's next? There's no shows. Like my brain goes into a little bit of a panic when I'm like, there's no good shows, like not no good shows, but there's just like the hobbies, like December, it's
Yep.
more family time.
Yep.
It was great too. I have a great family. My family is like the most loving, like they're cool as heck. Like they would do anything. Like, they're awesome. But yeah. So I don't know. You just go through introspective thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of, and it's like a lonely place. It's like, especially if you really start to like strip it down, and you're like, well, like, why am I even feeling this way? Like, why, why isn't this enough? Right? Like, there's just a lot of questions and even more answers when you start really digging. And the fact that you made it now to this place where you're super motivated again, and you're contributing at such a high level. Like you said, going to Burbank and checking out Bleecker and hitting shows again. Like, I mean, ultimately, we just have to consistently find things to be passionate about and to keep that passion alive. And I also think that, you know, keeping that like that childlike wonder is like so important. You know what I mean? Like really kind of tapping into that on a regular basis. And it's like whatever you can do to make yourself feel alive is, I think you should just lean into it. And again, it sounds like that's kind of like where you're at right now. So this is pretty cool. Talk to me about your channel, man. Talk to me about you know, we talked about the growth and how it started in 2020. Like, is this, are you happy? You know, like, is this, could you have imagined something like this when you first started? Although you've been making content for a long time, right? Like, you've
Yeah,
had
like
like,
I made,
old, like early,
I
early
used to make
YouTube videos.
content. I made
Yeah.
content when I was like 14, but like the channel
Yeah.
never got big. Like
Yeah.
cards wasn't cool. Like
Yeah.
people like people realize it now because I'm very vocal about like, like when I collected, like I was bullied and stuff. Like it wasn't cool, bro.
Yeah.
Like now I get all these like baseball players and like just kids and like actual collectors from like when you mean in Canada, it was amazing. Like the love there, like in Toronto, like different countries, like it's just crazy, man, what these cards can do. They bring us all together. I think like, this brings us together and then whatever happens after is pretty cool too, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like the channel, dude, I mean, like I honestly had a humbling experience. Like I think it was during my tour. I was like, man, I was sitting in the middle of nowhere. I was talking to my girlfriend, and I just think I had realized, like, I let my guard down where I was just like, you know what? Like, I enjoy doing this. Like, it shouldn't be like, I shouldn't get stressed out. Like, we're actually creating like fun content. And I was like, I realized like it's such a gift to be able to create content. It's hard to be a YouTuber, man. Like, it's hard to be, you have to be consistent. You have to study the algorithm. You have to make the right thumbnail. You have to title it kind of weird. And I've just tried to like tweak it and we've tested so many things out. Um, and I don't know, man. It's just like it's constantly growing. But here's the key. We are in a very niche community, right?
Yeah.
They have video game community. I'm right here. Video game community. They have makeup community. They have bodybuilders that are huge. The CrossFit people,
Yeah.
like they have boxing clubs. They have like the Pokemon people. They have like those communities have millions and millions of subscribers. Our community, like it's like sports card investor, card collector two, Pac-Man, me, Roth cards, who else? Like Justin Gamble, like all these like I mean I'll say for YouTube. Let's stick
Yeah.
to YouTube
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's YouTube. We're talking about YouTube.
Yeah.
For YouTube strictly, it is just like I mean, Loot Box TV. I mean, they have 60 something thousand. Like it just shows you, and I'm at like almost 50. Like it's so small still.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, small, it's not small, but like it's smaller than what like the top tier communities
No,
are.
for sure.
So when I
Yeah.
think of YouTube, I gotta realize, like, dude, this is crazy. Like when a video even gets 1,000 views, like or 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, like it doesn't always have to be like 50,000. Like that's like the occasional pop. And like as a content creator, you get like excited about like,
Of
man, my
course.
content's killing it.
Yeah.
But here's the key. This is gonna be so funny to tell people. I have put in so much time to make like a banger video where I was like, this video is gonna hit 100,000 views and it freaking bombs. And then I'll put this video out there and I was like, oh man, this is a crappy video and it has over 120K. And I'm just like, wow. It's like it's so hard to like, there's no way to do it. I can't figure it out.
But that's why I think it's so important. Like, and it's cool to like actually talk to another content creators, like, because this happens to me frequently, right? Where like all like a lot of my content is like very low production value, and I've tried to go the alternate route, like in many occasions, and like I put like, let's say, where I normally put 45 minutes or an hour into a video, I'll put like 4 or 5, so like 4 or 5x of like the time and energy, and to your point, like sometimes they just absolutely bomb, and I'm like, for fuck's sakes. I'm like, what? I'm like,
Dude,
what the
it's
fuck just
it's a
happened,
weird
bro?
feeling.
Yeah, yeah. But at the same
But I
time,
had,
you're like,
you know what though? There's something to that, and separating out that like these videos don't make me whole. Like it's a hole inside my soul, man. Like YouTube and like money and everything's an outside thing. Like I got to be happy on the inside, which
yeah,
is like you're a big workout guy. Like getting your body right, like being good. I'm believing God. So God, helping people out, these kids in the hobby, like that's the real stuff. This like when I get bummed because the video doesn't do well, like that's like that's head games. Like that's not it's not healthy for me. So I have to like dumb it down. You know what do you
Yeah,
relate to
of
that?
course. Yeah, of course. It's also like if you really dumb it down, it's like it's a first world problem. You know what I mean? Like it's not that serious. Like it's like
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
really, you know what I mean? Like it's not like, yeah, of course there's a lot of stuff like riding on this, but to my point earlier, it was like you can have a bad video and then like you recover 10x that in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or 5 weeks or whatever the case may be. Like it's like failure is not, it's not finite. And I think that's super important too. It's like, and this is what stops a lot of people from even trying in the first place is like you just expect, maybe your expectations for things are kind of holding you back, right? Like the best way to kind of be is have no expectations and just, to your point, just really lean into the process and just, I learned something, or I had a really good conversation with someone during a video, or like I try to think about it in the sense that like I'm gonna be here for fucking decades, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna be here for decades. And so as long as I'm happy, that's all that really matters. And like if it happens in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like, I mean, it really doesn't matter. If you look at some of the most dominant brands on this planet, like Oreo, for instance, like, dude, they've been around for like 100 years. They've been literally making Oreos for 100 years. And like, how
That's
how
crazy.
long do you think they've been making Oreos before they were a household name? Probably
Yeah.
50, 60, 70 years. Like some of these people popping off, like artists, for instance, how long have they been creating? And like all we see is like, oh yeah, they've been like they've been on fire the last little bit. But like, how long has like Jack Harlow been making music for before, one of his things
Yeah.
catches fire and then another thing catches fire and then all of a sudden Taylor Swift, especially after this past Super Bowl and where she's at in her career. I've seen and we're in the card community. I've seen a lot of people post the Taylor and Kanye card, and that's from 2009. And I remember that moment, right? And like Kanye was claiming that like he made Taylor who she was, and like now you look, it's 2024. That's 15 years ago, bro. And she's like, now she's who she is. But back then,
Yeah.
Kanye could talk to her like that. Do you know what I mean? So like, I I think that looking at something and being like, am I doing what I want to do for me? And do I understand that if I do this for long enough, like that the game will eventually figure itself out? Is super. It kind of like grounds you.
Yeah, of course. I
Yeah,
mean, consistency, right? Like I think you can't compare yourself to the top. You gotta have to be on your own level and like craft your own like destiny. It's all about the journey though, man. I think we get too caught up in the destination sometimes when we're like riding the wave, like you said. Like you can't compare yourself to the top. Like you shouldn't compare yourself to me if you're at 1,000 subscribers. Like you're at where you're at, and you got to craft your own path because you'll develop a community that will like your content and they'll interact, and you should interact back. And it's a part of the game.
I agree, man. Talk to me about your collecting. So you have a pretty serious boogie PC. So DeMarcus
That's my
Cousins.
guy, bro.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
my
yeah,
guy.
yeah. And
My favorite
and
player, bro.
Sacramento Kings in general. Talk to me about you're buying now a lot to sell. Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, does having a player PC really allow you to be very selective on like what you buy in terms of, I don't know, stuff you keep?
Yeah, I mean, like I would never sell a DeMarcus Sacramento Kings card. Like, it's just like fun, man. Like, it's like people give some to me, but like I actually enjoy buying them. Like,
Yeah,
I'll buy like a logo man DeMarcus every once in a while, and I won't say like how much I paid, but now I will. Pay like 800 to 1,000 on a PC card, and I was like, yeah, this is 800 to 1,000 that will never come back to me, but it's
ever.
priceless.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but like my PC's all at my parents' house. Like here I'm developed on the hustle, man. And but then like I have this like I don't drink, so there's this like wine rack thing that we figured out on my YouTube. I didn't know it was a wine rack. So I've been putting my PC in there and
that's
I've
pretty
been
cool.
new stuff. I basically feel like I'm on a new journey with my PC. But I'm also adding other players. Like this guy Josh Young, he plays for the Rangers. Like he's been I hope like we opened some cards with him and like I just like I like collecting people that like I can relate to. And I think
Yeah.
him so excited about the hobby was like really cool for me to see in Dallas. So I've been talking to him on Instagram and I was just like, it's just cool to see. Like I told him I was like, you know, I'm gonna pick up some of your cards and it's fun. So like because I had a personal connection with him. So PC is important, man, because like the money comes and goes. Like you know, these cards, you sell them, you buy them. You know, like I've always said, you sell the cards so you can like, because you're not gonna sell. I'm not gonna sell the logo, man. So
Yeah.
there's money coming in.
Yeah.
So if I turn a $500 profit on this stack right here, that means that that logo man's 300. You know, to
Yeah.
me, like
Yeah.
I'm trying to like, I got to bring money in. I still got to function as a business.
Yeah.
And online card shop. So.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I think, and that's why like when people, I don't understand how people don't sell. I'm like, I don't know where your money comes from. I'm like,
Dude,
if you keep,
some people are independently wealthy though.
yeah, yeah, I know. But I'm like, I can't imagine, like it actually kind of invigorates me to find because like I love fantasy sports and keeping up with fantasy sports from like just including guys in your lineup on a like a week to week basis or a day to day basis is like super tedious for me. But like I like following the player to your point, and I have no problem, putting in the work in terms of like scouting that guy out and like seeing them play at like a lower level and then really rooting for them. And like for me, I have no problem buying your stuff, while no one like I'm in your corner, and then like when you eventually you get there, like you're eating because you signed a nice little contract and you get the notoriety, but like I'm eating because I've just, sold something that I bought 3 years ago from you for like, 5 and 10x. Like I have no problem playing the long game even with stuff like that. So I think yeah, it's fun to for me to buy someone that's underrated, wait a little bit, let it sit for a little, and then turn that into a PC card. And for me, when I was at Culture Collision, I picked up um an Austin Matthews autograph debut ticket stub, and it's the first ticket stub that I've ever owned. But when I saw it, I was I felt like I wasn't at that game, but I watched that game on TV. I remember his debut. He scored 4 goals in his debut. And I really like sat there and I was like, okay, like I don't know what was sign of value to this thing because I haven't seen any sold, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna really come across something because like again, I think it's like a pop 27 with like 17 higher. So like 45 of them exist.
Yeah.
And I was like, I see so many of his cards and the same cards over and over and over again. My whole life I collected like stubs. Like I still, if I were to pull out my wallet right now, I guarantee you I have a stub of something in there. And now that stubs are gone, like everything is electronic, I'm like, I
Yeah.
feel like that's really gonna hit hard every time I look at this thing. Where there's been a lot of instances recently where I'm like, I wish I had a stub for that. I wish I had like an actual, like a tangible memory of that moment. And so that like recently I've been trying to not only take more pictures, but like develop more pictures actually as like as a way of kind of replacing that ticket stub. But
Yeah,
I was like, man,
exactly.
this is a perfect transition for me. I'm like, I'm buying this damn ticket stub. So
I
yeah,
totally get that. Well, dude, like I'll give you an example of that. Like I was big into autographs. I still am, bro.
yeah,
I still enjoy getting autographs and like submitting stuff, but like there's something about getting an autograph for me that like exactly the feeling you're talking about with the ticket. I knew tickets were cool, but like the autograph when I went to a game that I paid for and like I met like I don't know, let me give you an example. I met Kevin Durant like when I was like 15 and he signed something for me. I was so pumped.
yeah.
And man, I paid $10 to get into this Kings game because they sucked. And I got this autograph. This is awesome. Like like I'll never forget this. And like getting an autograph from someone, I always remember like what happened. Like I could tell you exactly what happened with the autograph. I could tell you how long I waited, who I was with, and what the person said to me or what I said to them. It's crazy.
I love that. It's all about building memories, right? Like at the end of the day, it's like, what do you what do we leave behind except for experiences?
Yeah, exactly.
It's awesome. Talk to me about what's in store next. Like, what do we? You've got a pretty busy schedule. Like, are we talking Burbank every day? Like, are we focusing more on uh like being at home, or are you focusing like travel?
No, I mean I mix it up. I mean, man, I'll grab my whiteboard. Look at
Yeah, yeah.
this.
Let's see
You're
this.
on my whiteboard.
Hey. There you go.
Look at this thing. I sit down on Sunday night and I plan this out. This is gonna be in my YouTube video. I'll film with you after we're done with the podcast. I'll film
Yeah.
a spot. But basically, so today's Monday, so we got Coach Co podcast. You're the first thing on my list. I woke
Love
up at
it.
10. I woke up late today. Because last night I had to package a bunch of whatnot stuff.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to go to this Blue Sports Cards at 1 p.m. because Croatia twins, they're in town, and my boy Armin, so they're pretty
Yeah.
cool. Then I got to list whatnot on eBay listings, and then I'm gonna reward myself. I put on here I'm gonna open a Prism Mega at 9.
I love it.
Dude, I opened boxes off camera, and because like I just for years, bro, I opened boxes when I was a kid, and it was cheap. It was so
Yeah.
cheap for me to open boxes,
Yeah.
and I would record every single one, and like I never every time I recorded, I never got anything good. But when I don't record, I've always been lucky.
Yeah.
Um, and then like I'll just sum this up. Tuesday I got PSA. I have to do a thing with PSA at 9 a.m. I got some recovery thing I'm doing at 10. I'm going to Bleecker at 1 tomorrow. We talked about them opening the shop. I
Yep.
gotta open my man. There's hella stuff down here. There's like some gala that I'm supposed to go to for Wheelhouse. They do like they produce a show Pawn Stars. Like, dude, I mean that like it's
Nice.
LA's popping, bro.
Yeah.
LeBron James duel's coming down here. I'm trying to organize to see if I can meet up with those guys,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. At the Burbank.
basically, bro, like this is a whole like I believe in like whiteboard, bro. I'm all
Yeah.
about the whiteboard because
Have
you
one.
can think all these
Have
things,
one
but if
over
you,
there somewhere.
yeah, dude, exactly. You gotta
Yeah.
see, you gotta see your schedule, your thoughts, everything. Like I had like one day here where I was like freaking the fuck out. So, and I was like, I'm like paranoid, and I'm like, man, did I make a mistake? I wrote down every fear I had on the whiteboard, and I was just like, man, this half this stuff is just like trippy. Like I'm just hungry and I'm
Yes.
tired.
Yes. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was just thinking like, how am I, like I put on there, how am I gonna pay rent? I don't have my whatnot's been sucking. I don't know what to film while I'm here. Like I went crazy, bro. And then I was like, I wrote it all down and I was like, man, I think I just haven't eaten today and like I need to chill out.
I
But
think
like it's
there's like
real.
you need to flush things out, man. Like you have to flush things out, especially when you're like on your own. It's like it's so important. But like even if you're not, like communication is key, and I think that so many of those thoughts when we express them in like a safe environment to like people who care about us or support us, or I mean even in the sense of like if you there's self-love there, like you realize that so many of the things you're scared of will never actually come to fruition, and they're just like intrusive thoughts, and that's okay. Like you have those conversations and you're like, wait a second, like that's crazy, like that's absolutely nuts. And that happens to me sometimes when I have to go to the airport. Like I literally just got back from Philly, and it was like my flight was at 10:30, and I was like, well, what if there's like traffic? What if there's this? What if there's that? And I'm like, it's like 5:30 in the morning. I was just like spinning. And I was like, just chill the fuck out. Like, it's like, even if everything goes wrong, I'm sure you can leave at like 7:30 and be more
Yeah,
than
of course.
okay, bro. More than okay. So just take it
Yeah.
easy, like, and again, like I didn't physically write anything down, but I had that conversation with myself where I'm like, okay, let's strip this down. Worst case scenario here. Like, give me everything you've got. Gridlock traffic, get stopped at the border, whatever the case may be. And I was like, no, this is nuts.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that's why the whiteboard's important. It's because like even scheduling, like seeing that I'm doing a podcast with you, like it was easy for me to like mentally prepare myself for
Yeah.
this. But if I don't write that down, I'm in your podcast and I'm thinking about how I should be at a card shop and then I should do this and do that. It gets crazy.
That makes
I'm
sense.
telling you, I had to learn this the hard way. I went like I'm trying to think. There was like a show I went to. It was like it was the Vegas card show, but it wasn't the Mint. And I was fucking losing my mind because we had like a bazillion things and like I committed to things I like. You ever overcommit?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I
of
overcommit
course. Yeah, yeah.
times and I'm like, I was freaking out and I was like, I came back from that trip and I'm like, I don't ever want to do that again, bro.
Yeah. I
And
have
my
I'm a
girl-
bit keep going.
and then my girlfriend too, like, dude, she's the one that kind of planted the seed with the whiteboard. And like once she did that, like shout out to AG because like she like I don't know. It changed the way I do things. Like it opened my mind up. And the guy from Kentucky basketball cards, he uses whiteboards exactly like that.
Yeah.
It's about like I can't even take credit for it, man. Like I learned this shit from somebody else. Like
I'm
I
so
learned through so many people, man, just
yes. Yes.
listening and like asking the right questions. Like Yeah, this is like I some guy from Lexington, Kentucky, who was a teacher, inspired this basically, and my girlfriend.
I run so many lists, bro. It's not even funny. Like I have like a calendar on my phone, and then I have like a daily to-do list. I got a weekly to-do list, and then like a monthly to-do list. And so like all like when I check something off a bunch of those, I'm like, this is a beautiful moment here. Like, but just for me, same thing. I get like super overwhelmed if I have just so much shit on the go. And I'm like, okay, how do I break this down like so that it's like bite-sized bits where I can just cross this off and I get a little bit of like dopamine from like actually crossing something off.
Bro,
And-
100%.
Right?
I, re-
Like,
I relate I
yeah.
relate to that. You have no idea. When I cross your
Yeah.
name off this list, not a bad thing.
No, no, that's okay.
Could be dope.
Yeah, because you're like, I'm like, this is beautiful, you know, like I just did this, I just did this. And again, like if you need to zoom out and be like, oh, I did nothing today, like even if it's small stuff, like I have the smallest shit on this list sometimes, like literally like throw like flip the laundry. It's like something I would, otherwise cause me stress if it sat there overnight and, like, and all of a sudden my stuff needs to be ironed. Like there's just so many little things that happen. So I'm like, if I just take care of this now, we're good. I'll say another thing that really kind of changed my trajectory is like this year I started doing like a gratitude jar. So it
Oh,
literally
wow, those are
says
cool.
grateful on it. And especially I find that winters in Canada are just fucking brutal. Especially like the January, February, March. And it's kind of hard sometimes to if it's dark and it's cold and like I don't really know
Yeah.
like lack of direction. And I will say that it's kept me just beyond beyond sane. Like it's kept me really, really, really grounded over the course of the last little bit. Every day I just write something down that I'm grateful for, and it could be something so insignificant, like it was sunny today, or I had a really good conversation with my mom, or I'm happy like my cat is healthy, or like just like
Yeah.
shit that otherwise gets overlooked. And if I ever need to, I just reach in there and I pull one of those out. I'm like, yo, I have so many, and visually, I have so many things to be grateful for, bro. Like, look at this,
Yeah.
like what am I doing being stressed out about? The one thing that didn't go my way. So
Yeah, no, that's cool. I really like that. I really believe in gratitude too. Like that's why my motto is one day at a time, you know?
yeah, it's awesome, man. My friend, um, talk to me a little bit about what this integration with Fanatics. They're here. We see some of the I don't know if you've seen some of the videos from last night about like Michael Rubin and his like Vegas parties, tons of
Bro, awesome.
athletes, crazy amount of athletes, crazy
Crazy.
amount of like there was like Elon Musk there. Like it's like I mean, there's definitely a segment of the hobby that's not excited for having, I guess, like so much mainstream attention or like someone who has all this capability behind him. But like me personally, and I think you're kind of on the same page. Like I love this shit. I love that like the guy who's running this thing has the capability of like just talking cards with fucking Elon Musk. Like they all signed like this like one of one like Topps Chrome. I don't know if you saw that. Like there's like a
Board or something.
yeah, 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 yeah. But like there's like Shaq and Elon and all these trippy ass massive names in pop culture,
Yeah.
all signing this like fake sports card one of one. And it just for me, my brain just goes bananas. And I'm like, we're just getting started. I'm like to your point with like the YouTube stuff. We are in this, we had that run up with pricing and a lot of people came in and a good chunk of people have left since, but I think that the capabilities of having something you care about and are so passionate about being the gateway to athletes that you admired before, currently, people in pop culture, and just like interesting individuals is like it's never been more possible.
100%, bro. I believe in that. Bro, that guy, Michael Rubin, is like the Great Gatsby, bro. You guys are he's something else. And you know what, man? I get it. There's a lot of like, rinky-dink people that are not happy about them, but you don't even know. We're just speculating, bro. Just like let it happen. Like let Topps Chrome basketball and football come out and like just let it go. Like there's too much speculation. There's too many people that like are riding the content wave on this stuff. Like I don't report on this stuff. It's ridiculous because you don't know what they're gonna do, number one.
Yep.
Number two, they are growing and maximizing the hobby. I'm not going to use the word 10x. That's
Yep.
ridiculous. I don't know about it. But I like I like the what do they call it? What is it called? Like, I don't know. I don't want to. What is it called when it's confident? They're
Yeah.
confident. I like
Yeah.
the confidence, and you know what? They're like Nike, man. Like they want to be the best. Like Nike always said, we're on offense. So they're on offense, right? They're gonna
All the
push.
time.
They're gonna dominate. They're gonna push around Panini. They're gonna beat around. They're gonna try to get LeBron in. They're making all these crazy commercials. They're marketing the hobby. They're getting kids involved. They're calling the shots. Like they need right now what they need is they need some hobby people to speak to them though. They need some hobby people, like real hobby people, not business people, to
Yeah.
right into this industry and like listen to what we are saying, because at the end of the day you can market the hobby, you can promote it, but it's got to be attractive. You need a card collector to bring somebody in. You need somebody that knows the back end of this stuff. I hate to use leaf. Wow, is it leaf? Use Topps. We're using Tops here. You
Yeah.
need somebody that has the blood, sweat, and the tears for this thing, that's passionate about it. I'm not saying to work for them, but just listen to us.
Yeah.
Listen to us. Like this is going to be the key to the success. Because, and I think it's great. Kevin Hart, boom. Okay, you got Travis Scott, cool. You got Elon Musk, cool, 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 cool. Awesome. All these people, that's awesome. Now and he's bridging the gap. Let's bridge the gap and bring everybody together. And I think they're on the right path. Like I said, Ruben's like Great Gatsby. I think he's balling, like it's cool. And I think everybody gets super excited because people want a part of that.
Yeah.
I'm sure so many. I mean, come on, man. Who doesn't want to go to that party? Are you
Bro,
kidding
even the
me?
the white party that he throws is like ridiculous. You know, like,
Bruh, put me
it's
on the list, man. I don't even care, man. Also, I don't even have to say. Like,
all
it's cool, but I'm telling you right now, the back burner of this whole conversation goes back to the collectors and the community. Like I'm not even talking I don't even like the word influencer.
yeah.
You don't even have to look at me. You got to look at like Joe Schmo from like, I don't know, Virginia or from Dallas. Just look inside, and like these kids, like the kids are the key to like this thing. Like bridge the gap between the athletes, the kids, the athletes and the community. Like let's bring it all together. Like and I know they're optimistic. I know they have good planning and they have some good leadership. I just pay attention, you know. Um, but yeah, like we can't speculate. Like it's so crazy. Everyone hates Fanatics, then they love Fanatics.
I
They hate
know.
Fanatics, they love Fanatics.
I know.
Fanatics Live is crap, now it's good. This and that, whatnot's. I mean, I like whatnot, but
Yeah.
like it's just like they can't figure that shit out. But that's on them. But at the end of the day, like people are so quick to judge.
Yeah.
Oh, there's too many super factors. Oh my God, LeBron's here. I love him. Oh, like it's just like, bro, we have such a reactive hobby.
Yeah, but it's
Like
just it's
like I
life
don't
though.
even give my
It's like it's
reaction
I think it's just
anymore. Everyone's
sports
on
though.
like
I think it's sports, bro. It's sports and like just people in general, right? Like every time
so
anything
interesting.
happens, people have to give their opinion on things, right? Like
Like the
Mahomes,
Taylor Swift
Mahomes,
stuff.
Mahomes was washed, and now he just won another chip,
Oh my
right?
God, bro.
Like Mahomes was
Yeah.
washed, the Chiefs were washed. They,
Now Purdy sucks.
you know, like
Dude is a trip. I didn't know about
LeBron's
it
been
though.
shit for 20 years, but somehow has like 4 chips under his belt. You know what I mean? Like there's always gonna be that hate. There's always gonna be people who like oppose. Yeah, it's just human nature, I think. You know, like, and I think that if you're doing something right, you're gonna get a opposition. You know, if everyone agrees with you, I think that's when you should be worried. Like that's when you're like, oh man, I'm doing something wrong. Like I'm 100% doing something wrong,
Yeah, I mean,
right?
like I said, dude, I think Fanatics is doing it. They'll do what they're gonna do. It's just gonna be in due time. We just got to be patient and like trust the process. But at the same time, I challenge them to listen to us.
That's exactly it, bro. I love that. I love that. My friend, I want you to let all of us, first of all, I want you to just like absolutely plug the living shit out of anything you want right now. So if
Oh
you
my
got something
gosh,
go,
here we go.
if
All
you
right,
got something going
let me
on,
pull
your
my
channel,
I have my
everything.
script ready. No, I'm just kidding. You guys, subscribe to our YouTube, Mojo Sports. Follow me on Instagram, Mojo Sports LLC. And we are live on Whatnot every single week. On Wednesday specifically, I'm going live. And you guys got to tap in, join my invite link. You'll get your first $10 spend on me. And also, you know those Zion cases? I don't
Yeah.
have one. If you need a Zion case, use the code MOJO10 and you're going to get a discount. And make sure you freaking like this video or whatever's going on here. Show Coach Co some love. Let's get him some more followers. Canada, we'll be back in April. Toronto Sports Card Expo, have to
I
be
love it.
there.
I love it. Man, I want to thank you so much for jumping on here and as always, just being super authentic and talking about not just sports cards and content, but just like the behind the scenes stuff and really the personal growth stuff that has resulted in you being where you are today. So appreciate you, team. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of the Cardboard Coach. You heard the man. Please go follow MOJO Sports on all channels if you haven't already. And team, for now, Coach Co and MOJO Sports are out of here. Peace.
Peace.